Hello, fellow photographers. Today we're going to be shooting panoramic photos. Okay, so I'm up in Virginia today at one of my favorite national parks. This is Great Falls National Park. I walked away from the waterfalls a little bit just so I could get a little better audio quality, but I found a spot over here that I'm going to take some pictures of. Let me show you a video of what it looks like. So this here is what we're going to be taking pictures of. All right, so there are a couple different ways that you can take a panoramic photo. As always, I highly suggest you always shoot this in RAW, but we're going to go through a couple different ways. I'm going to use a wider focal length for this shot, just so I can get a little more depth of field with the rocks and the waterfall and then the background. First things first, you're going to select your aperture. For this one, I'm going to shoot it at, let's go f4. Yeah, f4 should be fine. Then we're going to set our ISO at 64, and then we're going to let our light meter determine our shutter speed. So it looks like for this one, we're going to be shooting it at a 1,000th of a second. I'm going to drop it down to an 800th of a second. So the most common way you're going to be seeing people shooting panoramic pictures is going to be in landscape. So let's go ahead and take one like that. So we're going to focus on our area out there. And then we're going to take a picture and just kind of turn to the side a little bit while taking another picture. And I went ahead and shut off autofocus just so what was originally in focus is going to be my primary sense of focus. Then you've got the more preferred way of shooting it, portrait. So let's focus on our subject, shut off autofocus, we'll take those pictures. Now, as you'll see once we jump into Photoshop, it really doesn't completely matter whether you're horizontal, whether you're vertical, portrait or landscape when you're taking these pictures. The main Photoshop will be smart enough to kind of put them together. So just to kind of show that, I'm going to go ahead and take horizontal and vertical pictures here. And then the amount of pictures you take honestly doesn't matter too much. That is going to be something that your processing speed of your computer is going to determine for you. So now let's go into what I think is the best practice when taking panoramic pictures. And that is going to be using a tripod. So as always, when first using a tripod, you're going to select where you want it at. I just put my foot in water. We're going to select where we want it at. And we're going to set it up so that it is level and sturdy. All right, so using the level on my tripod, I've determined that this is level. I'll loosen this up so we can turn it side to side. We're going to make sure that our top here is level as well. I'm going to put our camera, mount it onto the tripod, and I'll be honest, I don't know why I made sure that was level because I'm going to turn it sideways. All right, so we're going to compose our picture. We know what we want in focus. We're going to go ahead and make sure autofocus is on for a second. I'm going to zoom in on the viewfinder on the LCD, and I'm just going to focus on the area that I want to be the sharpest. Zoomed in all the way on the waterfall over there. Looks like I have it nice and sharp. Now we're going to shut off autofocus. And we're going to take our pictures. So we're going to start with right here in the middle. We're going to move it, spin it to the left a little. And then again. And then again. And one more time, why not? That's a little further than I wanted it, but I'm going to be cropping this down a little bit anyways, but I just want wide angle for the depth of field. Somebody was yelling behind me. All right, so now we're going to go back to the middle. We're going to take another one, and then we're going to move to the right. And then also, if you want a little more height to your image, you can do that same flow just by tilting the camera down a little. So now we're going to have a little more below the picture. So we're going to go ahead and take that pan of pictures again. Just going to throw a few more in for good measure. That second pan, it's not necessary, just the make sure when you're taking the pictures side to side that you do have a good amount of overlapping area. I recommend probably about a third of the area to be overlapping, just so that you can kind of merge it better, and you also get less wide angle distortion from that. I think that's about it for here in field. So I'm going to finish this video up in the hotel room, where we're going to jump into Photoshop and show you how to edit these. All right, so we're back in the hotel room. I've got the pictures on the computer. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select the first set of panoramic pictures we took. Let's open them up in Adobe Camera Raw. Now, since I'm working on my laptop, this is going to go a little slower than if I was on a desktop, so I'm going to fast forward through some portions of this. All right, so we're going to select all the images by clicking Control A, and then we're going to right click, and we're going to click Merge to Panorama. And this will take a minute, so I'm going to fast forward right here. Okay, so it's opening up this merge preview window. You can select it to auto crop the image or not. We're going to unselect that, see how it looks. You can play with your boundary wrap. See what looks the most natural without a lot of distortion. To be honest, I kind of like that one. So we're going to go ahead and press merge. And it's going to ask me to save it as a digital negative. I'm just going to keep the same name, but I'm going to change Pano to -1. And we'll press OK. Or save, sorry. And then as you can see in the bottom left of the corner, it's running through its settings. It's saving it right now. Once that's done, then we will have the image. Now, at this point in time, you can go through and edit it if you want, but that is completely up to you. I generally wait until it's done. All right, so now that it's done, we can go through and we can see what we've got. The white balance looks fine. It's set on auto. Let's bring these highlights down and the shadows up. Boost the exposure, but not that much. Then let's go ahead and put a mask on the sky. All right, and I do want to crop it down a little bit because as you can see here in the bottom right, there's a shadow from the rock that I was sitting on. So we're just going to crop that in to get rid of that shadow. don't want to constrain portions, so we're going to stretch this back out. And it looks pretty level from what I can tell. So there we have, that is our first image merged to a panorama that was taken landscape. So let's press done. It's going to save all of our work, and then we're going to work on the next one, which we took portrait mode. Again, we're just going to select the images and open them up in Adobe Camera Raw. We're just going to make sure that our optics are turned on, and we're just going to go ahead and do a quick auto, even though you don't have to have your settings redone because it's going to do them next, but just because, we're going to go ahead and do it. We're going to right click on it, merge to panorama, and then we'll just wait. All right, so our merge preview has popped up again. We're going to play with that boundary wrap again, just to kind of see what it does for us. I'll be honest, I kind of like stretching the corners out on this one too, making it a little fuller. So we're going to go ahead and click merge. All right, so it's merged our images together. We're going to go ahead and crop it just a little bit. See that? It kind of looks like it straightens it out. So originally I was going to take this picture and have it cropped in more like something like that. Actually, that still might not be bad. Yeah, I kind of like that one. Right, let's go ahead and press done on it. Okay, so like I just showed you, you can merge a panoramic that was taken in either landscape mode or portrait mode with no issues. For this next one, we're going to merge one that was taken in both landscape and portrait and just kind of see if it works just as well. Little sneak preview, yes it will, but let's just go ahead and go through it and take a look. All right, so these images were taken both horizontally and vertically. So let's just go ahead and do the same things and see how that comes out. All right, so as you can see in the merge preview, it's got a bunch of different pictures that were pushed in there. And it just cleared itself up. Let's go ahead and play with the boundary wrap and see how that comes out. The computer's going a little slow. There we go. Maybe not. All right, so on the other two, I stretched the boundary wrap out. This one in the right part of the picture, right around here, I don't like how it's making it look like that. So we want to keep that straight. So we're not going to stretch the boundary on this one. Let's go ahead and apply auto crop and see what it does for us. I'm not going to apply auto crop because I want a little more freedom with it. You can still, even if you do auto crop now, you can still go back and crop it out properly or differently later. It's just as a starting base, I'm going to not do it. All right, so first things first, we're just going to level it a little bit, and then we're going to look at our edges and see where we want that to be. So we know right here is one of our edges for sure. It might change a little bit depending on how much sky we keep. And right here is one of our edges, because I'm not going to crop the bottom right there. Now the bottom, I can probably bring it to right about here. And the top we can probably bring down to here. And let's go ahead and constrain it to the image, and then just pull it out. Probably something like that. And it looks pretty decent. And then we'll just wait till this is done rendering the image, and then we'll press done. So our image is rendered and saved. We're going to go ahead and press done. And this final group of images, this is the set that we took while on the tripod shot in portrait mode. We're going to open those up in Camera Raw, and we'll do the same process. All right, so as you can see, looking at it in Panorama Merge Preview, we've got all of our images. We can see the little silhouettes around the edges where it's still trying to blend them together. But we can go ahead and play with the boundary wrap at this time. So just kind of watching this bottom corner over here. I don't like how stretching it is bending it. So we're going to leave it somewhere right around there. I'm going to go ahead and auto crop it this time. And then we're just going to go ahead and select merge. All right, that one seemed to take the longest, but it is finally done. So we're going to go ahead and press done, save our work there. Okay, so I just showed you how to create panoramic pictures out of 4 different ways of shooting them. Now, I only showed you how to do this in Adobe Camera Raw. Now, you can do this in Photoshop as well. Personally, I don't think the results come out quite as well, but I'm going to go ahead and show you that on just one, on another set of pictures that I did not record myself taking, but let's just create a panoramic out of those. All right, so these here, we're going to go to Photoshop, and we're going to load the files into, okay, so there's 2 ways of doing this. You can go to Photoshop and go to load files into photo layers, or you can just do photo merge. Photo merge is going to be the easier way, but either way works just fine. All right, so we're just going to select auto and for it to blend the images together. So we're just going to press OK. And then this is just kind of a waiting process for it to do its work. You don't have a whole lot of control with boundary wraps and anything like that doing it this way. So we'll just kind of see what we end up with. Another reason this is no longer my preferred way of merging photos is because you lose a little bit of the
the ability to color correct it later on, like you can in Camera Raw. So I can take these pictures once it's a panorama, and I can go into Adobe Camera Raw filter. You don't quite have as much control, as in like if you gotta try to push it or pull extra exposure. Um, yeah, it's just this is how I used to do it for years, and once Camera Raw kind of updated to the ability where it does it and it does it very well, I just don't really do it this way anymore. But let's go ahead and wait and see how the results come out. All right, so now that it's done doing all of its work, let's just close this window. I'll go ahead and view it full fit screen. All right, so this is the image it came up with. It does a pretty good job on merging it. It doesn't look like it's too distorted with wide angle wise. Sometimes it is. Like I said, you just don't have a whole lot of control with it in here. One thing you do have control of is all of these layers are still individual, so they're all just masked in. So if you want to pull a little bit from a different image and move it around a little bit, you can play with the mask and you can do that. Let's go ahead and just crop this down. All right, so we're going to save this as a copy just so we can take a look at it, and we're going to edit this one, this group of images the same way that we did the other one. And that way we can compare them side by side. All right, so we're going to take the same group of images, we're going to open up Adobe Camera Raw, and we're going to create a digital negative, and we can see how they look side by side. Now, if you're looking at this picture and you're wondering why the water quite looks like that, it's because I used a neutral density filter for these pictures. I believe the video is called long exposure photography that I talked to you about neutral density filters, and it's shot in the exact same concept. I'm gonna go ahead and leave auto crop checked because I kind of like how it looks. We'll wait a second and we'll play with the boundary warp. Just see what that does. All right, so we have our two images here. Top one here is our JPEG. The bottom one here is our digital negative. The digital negative, we have the ability to go through, correct still the white balance if we want it to be a little cooler like the top one is. We can adjust the highlights and the shadows a lot better than we can in the JPEG version. Other than that, they look like they came out fairly similar. I did a little more of a crop on the digital negative than I did on the JPEG, but yeah, they look like they both blended together pretty well, so that is definitely a good thing. So you do have the ability to use either one, just depends on what preference you tend to do. If you want to edit every single individual image first and then merge them into JPEG Panorama, so you have a little more control over the blending process, that is one aspect you can do. Or if you prefer to have a little more control in the editing process after they're all merged together, Adobe Camera Raw may be the better option for you. But that is it for today. I'm going to edit some more pictures and then probably go explore the city a little more, see how it's changed over the years since I lived here. Until next time, happy shooting.